Hey, good day. George Henry here, as I normally am. I'm missing my buddy Larry. We're getting together. He's had the grandkids with him for the past little bit here, but we're going to put out a new podcast coming up on this weekend, so that'll be nice. But I wanted to share some things with you. You know, I watch a lot of podcasts because I'm looking for that something that will kind of grab my attention, kind of give me that good feeling inside that, that's away from all the crap and the politics and all the violence and the different things, something that deals with human nature, something that deals with people's personal battles that they have successfully overcome and stuff like that. And there's one that whenever it comes up, I always stop for a few minutes and kind of check it out. And that's called The Pivot. And The Pivot stars three guys that are former football players. You got Ryan Clark, you got Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor. All played football, and they all have a little bit different take on it. Between the two of them, Channing's a little more out there. He's got a little bit of wilder life experiences that he shares. Fred's a little more subdued when it comes down to that. Ryan is kind of the level head of the bunch. Not that they all can't be level headed, because they really are when you sit down and listen to their whole cast. But I stopped the other day because the podcast, the Pivot podcast, was showing an interview that they did with DeJounte Murray, who is a former Seattle native who grew up on the South Side, was in a lot of trouble as a kid, overcame that, went to high school, took his team to three consecutive championships, went to college, then went into the NBA, and had a lot of struggles during those periods getting to the NBA, and a lot of successes, but a lot of really tough times. And I stopped on it because they were talking about the idea of, making friends versus trusting people with your story. And one of the things that DeJounte said was that when he finds consistency in somebody, that's when he'll trust them with, his story. And he gave the idea that, you get friends and they text you, go, "Hey, how you doing?" And then, the very next text is, "Hey, can you do this for me?" So it's sort of like a very shallow, very surface type of relationship. And I started thinking about that and thinking about how that affects everybody and how some people just let it happen. Some people, they go, "Oh, well, this person, said something nice and they asked me for something. Yeah, I'll do it because I'm a nice person." But then I started realizing the toll that could possibly take on you over time when you're constantly giving and not getting that reciprocal return on that. You're not getting something back for the energy that you're giving out. And I started thinking about how difficult it is to be a good person and not fall into the trap of, I have to be good because I'm worried about what other people think. I was watching another thing with Charles Barkley on it where he talked about, how he had all this money when he first went in the NBA and he, started buying people things, and Dr. Julius Irving, Dr. J, went up to him and said, "Look, this money's got to last forever. And, you can buy people things, but then they're only your friends until the first time you say no." And I started thinking about that and thinking about the reality of that. And I have a situation where, someone's been asking me for things. And I'm like, the first time I say yes, I know that I'm going to be committed to this person, or at least they're going to attempt to continue to ask. And I've had to tell them no, not because I didn't really want to, but because I wasn't able to. And, people had this person had this view that, well, you should be able to help me. when not realizing that it's a matter of can't, not won't. Because you want to help people every chance you can, but you want to do it because you want to do it, not because they're forcing you or they're forcing your hand or making you kind of laying a guilt trip on you for it. My middle sister's a good one for that, laying the guilt trip on, oh, you need to help so-and-so because I helped your son, or, you need to help so-and-so because, they had a rough life or something like that. And my philosophy has always been is that if you help someone out, they're always going to be looking for that out. Now, if you help someone up, that's a different thing altogether. And helping someone up usually isn't a financial thing. It's more of a support thing, more an emotional thing. And if someone's willing to take that kind of support and not be a victim and not be someone who doesn't understand how to get out of the situation they're in and not get back into that situation, then you can help them. But when they are stuck in this paradigm where I'm a victim, the world's against me, nothing ever goes right, everything I try to do turns to crap, that's really difficult. It's hard to get someone out of that mindset. In fact, I don't think you can get somebody out of that mindset. I think they have to get themselves out of that mindset. And once they do, once they have that belief, the gratitude and the belief that things good can happen, and you see that turn around, then they start to get the idea of, okay, this is where I made the mistakes. This is where I went wrong. And I wish this for everybody who lives in a victim mentality, that they would just turn it around, just try to have that positive outlook, try to find positive things, definitely have gratitude and thankfulness for what they do have, rather than, boo-hooing what they don't have or what they think the world owes them, because the world owes us nothing, not a single stinking thing. What we have to go out and get. And it's easier to get when you have a positive reaction to what's going on in life. So I just wanted to share that with you real quickly. If you haven't had a chance to watch The Pivot, it's a podcast, I highly recommend it. These guys have a lot of heart. They're funny too. They can be funny. Not dark in the sense, but, a little edgy on some of their takes on things, but definitely got the heart there. So check it out.